What's up, everybody? And today, I have to put that in every video, right? We're actually going to be doing a little bit of a chin wag about mead in general. Give you an update on what's going on with what we've done so far, what's coming up, our influences in mead, and why we kind of got into this new project in a bit more detail than just the introduction video, because I feel like the intro video was very brief in a way, wasn't it?
Yeah, quite short.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be talking about our plans for the future and some other really cool stuff. Right, Steve?
Yeah, I think the first thing we always like to talk about is the fact that you have been living in the US for, 8 years, was it?
9. Well, it would have been 9 in January, so it's just shy of 9. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it only ever recently sort of came about when things started rolling, like about you guys coming back over here. It was like we should do something together, and we never really knew what it was that we wanted to do. We just knew that we wanted to either work together on something or just do something that was fun that we could maybe put on YouTube, so that we could have something to do together.
Yeah, a bit of a project together. It's just been so long, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it's nice that we've got something that we both share an interest in, that like you say, like I've hardly seen you in the last 8 years.
Right. Right.
It's been very few occasions, so it's nice now to have a reason and an excuse to pop around pretty much every week.
It is nice, isn't it? That's really nice of you, bro. Tell me, where you first started hearing about mead. What was your first kind of interactions with it?
I can't remember what sort of fantasy movie it was, but it would have been something like maybe early 2000s. It's quite hard to pinpoint down exactly. Maybe it was the Robin Hood movie. I think it might have been the Russell Crowe one.
Oh, it's not
not Robin in Tights. As much as that is the best Robin Hood movie there ever is and ever will be. Yeah. But I think it might have been the Russell Crowe movie, which apparently didn't really do so well, but I enjoyed it. So it's hard to pinpoint exactly where I heard of mead first. It's always just something that's been sort of maybe you know about it, but you don't know exactly what it is. What about you?
I'm not too sure. Again, to be honest, I think it's probably around that time with you. I think it really came into pop culture reference with Game of Thrones, didn't it? Like that was kind of like I got some pictures I'm going to put up. That was kind of like the big one with Game of Thrones, where people started to realize what it is, and it became a bit more popular again.
Yeah,
I do remember knowing of it before that, because in Game of Thrones they don't just drink mead all the time. Wine is a big thing in Game of Thrones, and ale in general, which is, I know everyone talks about mead being the oldest drink in the world, which it totally is. And it's associated with Vikings quite a lot, especially because of the Vikings TV show. But in truth, the Vikings probably drank a lot of beer as well, or not necessarily beer, but different types of fermented drinks. Yeah, ale, more than just mead. I think the Game of Thrones thing really did it for me. You remember how massive of a fan I was in Game of Thrones. I absolutely loved it. Later on came the Viking show, and even there's another show as well called The Last Kingdom, which
I've not seen that.
Honestly, in fact, it's a book series, Steve, wrote by Bernard Cornwell. He's called. He's a British author who wrote another series called Sharp.
No way.
Yeah, he wrote Sharp. He wrote this, which is The Last Kingdom, which the whole show's on Netflix. You should totally watch it. It's fantastic. And then there's like a movie to tie off the end. And then he also wrote a trilogy, a King Arthur trilogy. And the first season just came out in the US, and it's coming out in December in the UK. And I've watched the first like 5 or 6 episodes. It's a little slow. The book's amazing. His writing's phenomenal. But again, like, these are all references to early medieval England and before, right? Game of Thrones obviously is fantastical. It's fiction. You could say that the Viking show is fiction, and obviously The Last Kingdom is definitely historical fiction. But Vikings and The Last Kingdom definitely have little hints of reality in there, right? So for Vikings, the only thing that's really real in there is probably the mead and the name of the characters, right? There is little references to
maybe some of the things that they did.
Yeah.
Especially with, like, when it comes to Vikings, they've really sort of taken big names within like the history of the Viking era.
Yeah.
Like they made Ragnar Lothbrok and Rollo brothers essentially, and we don't really
Right.
know if that's the case, but we do know that there was a Rollo that became either a king or a prince or some form of royalty in modern day like France.
Yeah, which is what they did in the show. The way that Ragnar dies in the show's depicted kind of how it is in the epic poems and stuff.
Yeah.
And he does have
The snake pit.
yeah, and Ragnar does have sons, including Ivor the Boneless, that we're pretty sure is the case. And Ivor the Boneless was quite the officer when it comes to the Viking army. So there is little hints of realism in there, but the costumes, the haircuts, even though my hair's like this and all that lot, is incredibly fiction. That's not what they used to be like in any way, shape, or form. The Last Kingdom's really good because it shows even though, you know, Uhtred was a real person, not in the case of what is in the show. Edinburgh Castle's a real place and all that lot. It's more about the way that the different cultures interact with each other. You've got the Anglo-Saxons who had already turned into Christians at this point, and then you've got the people who raised Uhtred, who are the Norse, who come over. And there is that animosity between the two, and that's what the show's all about. And you can see that the mead is drank between the two. It's definitely pushed more towards the Viking style mead thing, isn't it? And they kind of depict the civilized Christian Anglo-Saxons drinking other things like wine and stuff. But the truth is that mead was a very easy drink to make back then, as well as really cheap, really, I would say, basic ales, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very old drink. But anyway, we're digressing into history. These are the references that I got when I certainly started learning more about it. And then ultimately, it was at the Renaissance Fair, which in turn, if you think about it, because a Renaissance Fair in the US is definitely based on that kind of fictional medieval style culture.
Yeah.
They're going to have mead there, and that's because it's been influenced probably by stuff like Game of Thrones and all that lot. So it is kind of a bit of a full circle there. Even the mead that I particularly had, which we put on the video, was like Viking inspired, wasn't it? And you obviously do get a lot of Norse kind of Scandinavian influences on like the labeling of names for mead, don't you?
Yeah, I always think that's quite a common thing. And I think when we eventually, hopefully, like if we do ever go commercial, I do kind of want to lean into that because it is cool, but I don't know whether we should because of how overdone it is, or I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I think I like the fact that we've got Dreadnought Meadery as our name, right? But I think that it's okay for certain flavors to have certain imagery. That's the way I see it, right? So we can, if we make something that's got elderberry in it, we can label it accordingly that themes along with that. And if we have certain ones that are Norse themed, that's cool. If we have Celtic themed ones, that would be cool. I think it would be cool to have seasoned mead, so like a Yule mead, you know, winter solstice. I
already have plans for a Yule mead. I've spoken to you about, so I'm hoping that one day we can do that.
Exactly, and I think it's okay at that point to use the imagery and kind of use that early medieval culture with it. I feel
like we picked a good name.
I do as well. In fact, do you want to explain? You came up with that. Do you want to explain why you came up with that?
Yeah, so I think it's good for people that if you're not in the sort of know of it, like it's non-specific, so it doesn't sound Viking. It doesn't necessarily sound Celtic or Gaelic or anything like that. But I got the idea to call it Dreadnought because our granddad, our mother's maiden name is MacNab. So the clan MacNab are from a place called Killin in Scotland, and a part of the whole story of the clan is the way that the motto came around. The motto on the actual badge is Timor Omnis Arbesto, and then later translated to Dreadnought or Let Fear Be Far From All. And there's a pub in just outside of Killin, I think, and it's called the Dreadnought Pub. So it's all sort of based around the lore of the MacNab clan.
Yeah.
And I just thought Dreadnought was a really cool little nod to it.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool little reference. It does, it does have that kind of little bit of Celtic link to it, which is nice, but it's also distance enough away from us to be able to explore different themes as well. Obviously, we've got the logo up here. People can probably see it. We've got the traditional stereotypical Viking ship on the logo. At the same time, this is just like a placeholder logo. We haven't actually made an official one yet, which we hope to do, within the next 6 months or so. I think it's to get some commissioned local artwork of a nice logo or something is what I would like to do. I do, like I said, I do think we lean into the Norse, the Celtic, the pagan kind of like themes.
Yeah.
I'm obviously we've spoke about it in the past. Like I am a big fan of pagan themes and the pagan mythologies and any mythology in general, whether that's Celtic, Norse, Anglo-Saxon, which is obviously very very similar to Norse and Scandinavian, even like Russian, and all the mythologies that they have is very Indo-European kind of esque. It's where what I feel like is more, it makes more sense to where we grow up. And obviously Christianity came along and basically either wiped a lot of it away or brought it in to get people inside. Oh, you follow Yule? Well, it so happens that we follow this on the same day, and it was definitely a way to get people in. But for me personally, like following the different seasons and following certain pagan traditions makes me connect with the land a lot more. And I enjoy that mead is a big part of that. And I've seen a lot of people online doing rituals and stuff with mead, which is something that I haven't done yet or anything like that. But it's something that I'm more interested in the history of it. When it gets mentioned in certain things, is really cool.
I'd like for us to go and experience some stuff too. Like, we said we'd travel around the UK and we'd go to like meaderies and pubs and stuff. We should also be traveling and going to Stonehenge or going to these places where people get together and do these sort of like druid things or pagan things and learn about where all that comes from.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And we actually got a message from Hive Mind Meadery. I don't know if that's going to focus on the camera. This is the mead that we reviewed a couple weeks back, which was fantastic, by the way. But they messaged us on Instagram and said they'd love to have us down at the meadery, which, little trips like that I think are going to be fantastic on the channel, and I'm really excited for it. You just bought some mead for us to taste next.
I have,
right?
like literally like half an hour ago.
Let me pull up the Instagram of the fella that's doing this. Explain to people who and what and why.
So the Instagram page is Arcane Alchemist Mead. I only came across this first of all on TikTok, and his TikTok account is Sam Making Mead, and he's basically built a meadery in his own back garden. So it's essentially kind of similar to what we kind of want to aspire to do as well, is to, have our own little sort of homebrew that eventually we can try and make commercial. He's got, his main one at the minute is Celestial Orchard Toffee Apple Mead. So that's got, scents of apple. He's also put some caramel in there, so that's going to be really interesting. He's got other different flavors as well that he tries out. He's also got a YouTube channel which explains how to make mead. So this has been like a bit of a go-to for like inspiration and know-how. And he just done a live TikTok, and while he was doing it, I had dropped a few comments and he chatted back, and I thought I'm going to get one. So we got the Celestial Orchard Toffee Apple Mead, so we'll be trying that in a tasting very soon.
Perfect.
Which I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. I've just pulled up his YouTube channel as well, so that people can go over and check that out if they haven't already. He's got a Discord there as well. It'd be interesting to join his Discord. Cool. The guy is obviously very clued on with what's going on. I did notice, I don't know if there's a picture anywhere. I'm not logged in on my computer on Instagram, so I can't watch videos. But the way you can just see it on the up here. So I'm pointing it on my screen on OBS. The corking method, he dips it in wax, which I think is very, very interesting.
It's such a good touch. It finishes the look of the bottle. I think it's so nice.
It is a very cool way, and especially with the idea of it being called Arcane Alchemist. Like if you think of like D&D themed, and you see like a D&D themed kind of drink, they would have that like wax seal. It's very fantasy-esque, isn't it? So I think what they've done is brilliant.
Yeah, he even has like, you know, when you wax seal an envelope and they've got like the official stamp.
Yeah.
So he puts that on top as well, so everything looks really nice. There's even a ribbon around the edges so that you can peel off the wax and then pull the cork. So
Yeah.
I reckon it's such a nice look.
Yeah, that's brilliant, and we'll be reviewing that whenever it turns up, whether it be this week or next. We do have another mead that we're going to make. We've only made one so far. I've been taking pictures of it daily so we can do a bit of a time lapse, which I'm very excited for. But we are going to make another mead in the next probably week or two, aren't we?
Yeah, so we got honey originally from a farm which is really local to you, which is good.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get something direct from a source that eventually, I assume, if we went back there more often, we'd get to know them really well and learn how they keep the bees. There's also a person who works with our mum who has his own as well. So it's nice to get honey from another source that we will also know if we go with them as well.
Yeah, it's very exciting. At the end of the day, it is all about who you know. If we can get this honey and it's good quality, natural British honey that we can utilize with a good relationship with that person, again, like you said, if we could look around how he keeps the bees, even make that into a video, I think that's a fantastic opportunity for the channel and for us to understand the process, which is really important. But for us, the amount of love we've got back from making that first mead was fantastic. The comments were unbelievable. We really appreciate that, and we want more comments coming in. At the end of the day, this is our like dipping our toes in it, right? This is our well, we're not dipping any toes in the mead, but we are getting our we're getting started with this, and we're learning about it. And again, my hope is by the end of next year, we have a perfect kind of understanding on our first base mead that we can start turning the conversation from learning how to make mead to how are we going to package this and how we're going to get it out to the public so people can actually taste it, get our license and all that stuff as well. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting, and I want to log all that on this channel. I think the whole process of learning how to do it would be fantastic to put on the channel. Not just for people to learn, but for clarity, for people, so that there's a bit of transparency. So if they bought some mead from us in the future, they would understand, okay, this is the whole process they've been through. And the chances are I'm probably buying a bottle from the batch that's on screen. That's a pretty cool process in general, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've got a lot of really cool stuff in the future. Tomorrow, Steph and I are going to the Christmas markets tomorrow. I'm very excited.
Good luck.
Is it busy?
It will be. It's a Saturday, so it's going to be
crazy.
Even.
I'm hoping to look around and see if anyone's selling it. It's going to be mostly like, what's the hot wine called?
Mulled wine.
Mulled wine, isn't it? But
Glühwein.
I'm gonna keep my eye out, see if anyone's selling that mead.
You never know.
You never know. So if they are, I will take a picture, maybe do a little reel on Instagram.
You should get one.
If I see some, I'll 100% get it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. I wanted to come on and just make a bit more of an elaborate introduction video and explain the process and explain our thoughts on it. Is there any last things you want to touch on before we end this video?
One place that we should go to, doesn't matter what time of year we do this, but I was talking to Ross Fox today about a stag do that he was on. It might have been his stag do, actually. Yeah. And he went on a Viking-themed stag do in York and ended up at Valhalla, the pub, drinking mead. So that is definitely something that we need to do.
I think that should be something that we should do. I think that's
we
absolutely
might even
fantastic.
have to incorporate it into my stag do.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Either way, we should totally do that in general.
Oh yeah,
It sounds like a great time.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll end it there then. We'd love any comments to be said about, what you want to see from us in the future down below and stuff like that. I'm very excited. I feel like this is a project that we both have a lot of energy for and a lot of excitement for. Not only is it something that we're both excited to make, but doing it together is going to be really fun as well, which I'm really excited about. So it's only onwards and upwards for me. Again, this coming week, we're going to record a couple of videos for the next few weeks. It's one video per week every Sunday. So please stay tuned, turn your notifications on, and subscribe if you haven't already. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. check out our Instagram account as well. We're on there posting updates and little bits and pieces as well.
That's a better way to like get a hold of us personally. If you want to message us, that's a really good way to do it.
Mm-hmm. And if you do watch the videos, make sure that you do comment, give us any help that you can give, little tips and bits of knowledge about mead that you may have, because it all helps us.
Every little helps. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.
Cheers.
Goodbye.